Hi everyone. Today we did a new drill called cleaning out the closet, and the rationale behind this drill is that you will throw everything out all at once. So these 42 terms are all 42 terms from the chapter on ancient Greece. And what you do is that you find a home for each of these in terms of category. And we see our categories are philosophy, philosophers, geographic term, military term or military figure, governmental term or figure, Greek innovation or innovator, and architectural terms. Now, it was part reading comprehension, in part, going along with how I think the brain works nowadays, where we have a home for everything. Probably on your computer, you probably have a portion for your music, a portion for your schoolwork, a portion for your pictures, and this is no different. So, at the risk of taking a really long time and breaking down all 42 of these, I'm going to focus on just a couple of these items. So for geography, I'm going to leave that for now. Now, Greece had over 1,000 city-states and was very divided geographically speaking, but we'll save that for another time. Architecture, very cool, but again, for another time. And in terms of government, I'm actually going to include that in with the innovations here. So let's start with philosophy and philosophers, okay? And I'm going to do my best Khan Academy impersonation here and add some things as I go. I haven't done it like this yet, so I'll try something new. So I want you to remember this acronym is SPA, S-P-A. And we remember SPA because S is for Socrates, who taught Plato, who taught Aristotle. Now, to you, you're saying, who cares? Why do I need to know about these? Now, these three men are philosophers, and the way they think is still very much with us in Western civilization. Now, the root of the word philosophy comes from the Greek philo, meaning love, soph, meaning wisdom. So it literally means love of wisdom, but it's essentially a way of thinking. And that is epistemology, why we think what we think, logic, seeking patterns, aesthetics, what is beautiful, what is art, ethics, what is right and wrong, and metaphysics, very deep, heavy questions of our existence. And the Greeks gave us this fundamental way of thinking. And part of rhetoric is logic, and the reliance on using our brains for patterns and making a cogent argument, and rhetoric. Now, rhetoric is a form of learning that we've all experienced. Here, I'll give you a non-rhetorical question. What time is it? Well, that's 6:07 right now. A rhetorical question is a question where there's not an answer per se, but you're trying to get a conversation, and that deeper conversation is a form of learning. So in terms of philosophy, the Greeks were pioneers in philosophy. Now, in terms of military term or figure, for the sake of doing it in order, there's one person that I'd be remiss not to mention, and that would be Alexander the Great. Now, Alexander the Great was maybe one of the most influential people in history. Alexander the Great. And he only lived to be 32 years old. He did not live to be an old man, but in his time, he was a game changer. And I'm going to drop two words on you that we learned earlier. Cultural diffusion and syncretism. And cultural diffusion, Hellenistic or Greek culture, when he conquered the majority of the known world, brought that way of thinking, that way of living, that Western Greek Hellenistic culture to the areas that he conquered. Also, another fancy word is syncretism. Greek religious thought, Greek thinking, blending with the people that he conquered, created a new outcome that is still being felt today. So Alexander the Great, maybe one of the greatest military feats in human history, and died fairly young. But the big area I really want to focus on would be the Greek innovations and innovators. So I'm going to go back to this list, and I'm going to eliminate you guys. Oops, I can't do that. I'm going to focus on the innovators right here. Homer. Now, Homer created the epic poem, Now, if you are into a series that you watch, week after week, or you binge on Netflix, oftentimes these are epics. These are long-running stories, and Homer's epic is still with us today. Now, the notion of a citizen is hugely important. So, us as citizens, we have to follow the laws of the land. We have responsibilities to be involved with our process. But we also have rights, and in the United States, our Constitution protects these rights, in particular the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, because we are a citizen, and it's a two-way street. We get things for being a citizen, but we have to be involved, and this fundamental notion is Greek. Now, the phalanx is a military innovation, Athens, but let's go with this one here, democracy. Now, America is not a democracy. We're a democratic republic. Now, a democracy, and its direct democracy, is one vote, one person. And in a nation of 350 million, that's awfully difficult to do that. But at the core is we vote democratically for our representatives to speak for us. Now, in Athens, democracy was born, and this is a very Greek notion, and it's with us today. Now, in terms of a legislature, a lawmaking body, we call our lawmaking body to this day our legislature. That is a Greek idea. If you get in trouble with the law, you go before a jury. I've already mentioned philosophy in this study of how to think. Not what to think, how to think. And that's a very Greek notion by Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. They also gave us these two items, and I think it's fantastic because I think there's a time and a place for both. And some people really enjoy watching a sad movie or a sad play or a sad song, and for whatever odd reason, it makes us feel better. At least it's not us. And then it's comedy, something to take our mind off the challenges of surviving in this world. This theater and this way of thinking is quintessentially Greek, and I'm thankful for that contribution. This is the guy why I have a job, Herodotus. Herodotus is the world's first historian. This notion that we should have professionals accumulating the stories of our people and being able to pass them down and learn from them is Greek. I've already mentioned Alexander the Great, the man who brought Hellenistic culture to the world, and there's his father. Now, another word I would like, or another person I should say, that I'd like you to know is Pythagoras. Now, in math class, you learn the Pythagorean theorem. This mathematics comes from the Greek. Euclidean geometry. Euclid was a Greek. The Greeks gave us contributions to science. A heliocentric world, and this notion that the sun is at the center of the universe. Now, we know that's not true now, but for 1900 years we felt it. But at least the attempt to make sense of the cosmos is Greek. Archimedes. At lunch, if you had a slushie, you saw Archimedes' screw. That's the mechanism inside the slushie machine that's moving the slushie, and when the lunch lady turned the handle and put it in your cup, that's Archimedes' screw. It can move liquids. Hippocrates, if you become a doctor, you take the Hippocratic Oath. The Hippocratic Oath is a commitment that you will never harm your patients. You'll only work for good. I've already mentioned logic and this way of thinking. Things that aren't on this list, the Greeks gave us the 5-paragraph essay. I'm sure you love that. In terms of our buildings, which are very square, 16 on square, that's a very Greek notion. Even the gas station by the school is called Marathon, which was a Greek city-state. And there are over 1,000 Greek city-states experimenting with every type of government you can think of. And you'll learn something by doing that. At that Marathon gas station, they have Greek pillars that are holding up the roof when you pump your gas. And this is just scratching the surface. And there's an adage I want you to know, and I feel very strongly about this adage because I think it's true. The older I get. And here it is, in my best Sale Khan impersonation. Unless it doesn't work. Teaching American students about ancient Greece is like teaching fish about water. And again, if you're a fish, I know this is ridiculous, the water is surrounding you. It's ubiquitous. It's just part of the world you were born into. And the ancient Greeks are the same way. The way we build our houses, the way we educate our children, the disciplines we learn about, the language itself has Greek roots. Greece is our great-great-grandfather in terms of Western civilization, and we can trace much of our lives to Greece, including what is highlighted here: the epic poem, the notion of being a good citizen, the governmental items, democracy, legislator, direct democracy, jury, philosophy, tragedies and comedies, history, science, math, medicine, a lot. So, tomorrow we're going to learn the difference between Sparta and Athens, and thank you for watching, and have a good night.